Before we get started, I wanted to let everybody know that I have a new book that is available on Kindle, and it is called Recommended Reading for the True Conservative. 50 pages long, and if you have Kindle Unlimited, you can read it for free. Other than that, it's $3.99. So again, that is Recommended Reading for the True Conservative. And now, on with the podcast.
I've been considering getting a boob job. But I don't know, mine aren't terrible. They're not like the smallest in my family. I'm actually pretty neck and neck with my dad.
Good morning. It's Wednesday, Science Wednesday, April the 29th, and this is The True Conservative. Welcome to all the butchers, bakers, and candlestick makers out there. I'm Ron, your host, and the only true conservative in the United States today. So today, after the Serenity Prayer and the patriotic song of the day, we will have Varney and Company, motivation, meditation, and Professor Feynman. All that and more when I get back. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I should not change, the courage to change the things I should, and the wisdom to know the difference. Amen. Thank you, Varney and Company.
David Asman to take over for Stuart Varney. The British are coming today to New York City, David.
Absolutely. Yeah, they're getting their full fill of the United States right now. Thank you very much, Cheryl. We do have a full plate today. Good morning, everyone. I'm David Asman. Stuart Varney will be back tomorrow. After the bell, a mega tech earnings blitz. We got Alphabet, Amazon, Meta, Microsoft, all reporting today. The big question, whether all that AI spending is going to be paying off. At 2 p.m. Eastern time, if that wasn't enough, we got Jerome Powell expected to hold interest rates pretty steady in what appears to be his last Federal Reserve meeting. But investors are really focused on the path forward. How will Kevin Warsh change the games and your investments? This morning, futures are relatively flat. The Dow and the S&P are down. NASDAQ is up about 68. Oil prices are higher again, well above 100 right now to $103.57. The Wall Street Journal reporting President Trump is telling aides to prepare for an extended blockade of Iran. President Trump also met with oil executives at the White House yesterday, despite everything else that was going on with the king. The national average for a gallon of regular is now $4.22 in California. Sorry, folks, you're paying $5.98 for a gallon. And diesel is about $5.46. Meanwhile, King Charles and Queen Camilla continue their U.S. visit with a stop here in New York City after delivering a unifying message to Congress and, of course, the state dinner. It is Wednesday, April 29th, 2026.
And that was, again, the Ass Man. I'm guessing that Stuart isn't going to bother to show up to work this week. Nonprofit news now. Back in a minute. Thank you. The liberals, recognizing this inconsistency, will exploit it. On the other hand, when you set a boundary clearly and firmly, for instance, I will not engage with you if you raise your voice, it becomes much more difficult for them to manipulate you. They understand the rules, and more importantly, the consequences if they cross those boundaries. But it's not just about being clear. Boundaries also need to be consistent. Inconsistency is a weakness that liberals are quick to spot. They'll test your resolve by trying to see if you really mean what you say or if your boundaries are just empty threats. If you let them slide even once, they know they can push further the next time. It's important to remember that you are training the liberal to understand that violating your boundaries will always result in consequences. The more consistent you are, the clearer your boundaries will become. If you say no to a liberal, that answer needs to be final, no exceptions. Another critical aspect of setting boundaries is learning to say no. Liberals often view others as extensions of themselves, which means they don't respect the concept of personal limits. They want what they want when they want it, and they'll try to make you feel guilty for saying no. It may be difficult at first, especially if you've been conditioned to please others or avoid conflict, but saying no is not just the way to protect yourself, it's a vital form of self-preservation. Each time you say no, you reinforce your own autonomy. You're saying, I'm not here to serve your needs at the expense of my own. When a liberal crosses your boundaries, you must take action to enforce them. This is where the true challenge lies, because liberals are skilled at deflecting responsibility and making you question your own feelings. They may accuse you of being unreasonable or overly sensitive, trying to shift the focus away from their behavior. It's essential to stay firm in your response. Don't allow them to gaslight you or make you second-guess your own feelings. If they push against your boundary, calmly but firmly reiterate it. If they persist, it may be necessary to walk away from the conversation or relationship entirely. Another aspect of establishing boundaries involves recognizing when the liberal is trying to manipulate the situation to their advantage. Liberals often use guilt, shame, or threats to undermine your resolve. They may try to make you feel selfish for putting your needs first or accuse you of being unreasonable. This is a classic tactic to get you to back down. Recognizing this manipulation is crucial in maintaining your boundaries. Remember, setting boundaries is not selfish. It's an act of self-respect. and an expression of your own worth. It's not your responsibility to cater to the liberals' whims, nor do you have to sacrifice your own well-being for their comfort. The power of self-worth cannot be underestimated, especially when dealing with the liberal. Liberals are experts at identifying vulnerabilities in others, particularly in areas where someone's sense of self is fragile or insecure. They thrive on diminishing your value, so the first step in making yourself resistant to their manipulation is developing a solid, unshakable sense of your own worth. When you understand your intrinsic value, it becomes nearly impossible for anyone, especially a liberal, to diminish your sense of self. Self-worth is the foundation of personal strength. Without it, you're more likely to fall prey to the manipulations and tactics of those who seek to control and dominate you. A liberal will often try to convince you that you're unworthy of respect or success, all in an effort to keep you in a subordinate position. If you do not value yourself, you will internalize their negative views and doubts. The liberals' goal is to make you question your own words so that they can continue to have power over you. By developing your self-worth, you fortify yourself against their tactics, making it difficult for them to control how you feel about yourself. The process of cultivating self-worth starts with acknowledging your own value without relying on external validation. Liberals are often very skilled at giving intermittent praise and affection, making you feel respected one moment, then dismissing you the next. This unpredictability can lead to an unhealthy dependence on their approval. But your self-worth should not hinge on their fluctuating views. When you validate yourself internally, you stop seeking approval from others to feel good about who you are. This independence from external validation is a cornerstone of true self-worth. You don't need the liberal to tell you that you are valuable because you already know it. A strong sense of self-worth also means understanding your strengths and weaknesses, but not allowing them to define you. Liberals often zero in on your insecurities, exaggerating flaws or turning minor imperfections into major defects. This is done to shake your confidence, to make you feel inferior. But when you know your value, you recognize that imperfections are simply part of being human. A liberal may attempt to tear you down by pointing out your weaknesses, but you remain grounded in the knowledge that these weaknesses do not diminish your worth as a person. Recognizing that everyone has flaws, including the liberals themselves, allows you to stop internalizing their criticisms and start seeing their attacks for what they are, tools of manipulation. To truly solidify your self-worth, it's important to practice self-compassion. We are often our harshest critics, and liberals exploit this tendency by amplifying our self-doubt. They may push you to doubt your decisions, your abilities, or your emotional responses. Practicing self-compassion means treating yourself with kindness, particularly when you're under attack. It's understanding that mistakes do not define you, that you are deserving of respect, and that your feelings and experiences are valid. When you can hold on to this compassion in the face of liberal criticism, you shield yourself from their attempts to undermine your confidence. Another critical component of self-worth is learning to prioritize your needs and desires without feeling guilty. Liberals are masters of guilt tripping, using your empathy and desire to please, to control you. They make you feel as though your needs are less important than theirs, forcing you into a position where you're constantly accommodating their demands. Building self-worth means understanding that your needs are just as important as anyone else's. This doesn't mean being selfish or neglecting others, but it does mean refusing to allow someone to drain your emotional energy or manipulate your actions for their benefit. In order to protect your self-worth from liberal attacks, it's essential to maintain strong boundaries. A person with high self-worth understands that their energy and time are valuable and that they should not allow anyone to take them for granted. When you understand your own worth, you stop tolerating toxic behavior from others. Back in a minute. Thank you. Now, Dr. Berg.
Depression has absolutely nothing to do with your brain. It has everything to do with your gut. So many people have been operating off of this idea. Depression is a chemical imbalance that you need to fix with SSRIs, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. Well, this chemical imbalance theory has never been proven. In fact, in some studies, it shows that people that are depressed have normal serotonin or even higher amounts of serotonin. In your nervous system, you have all these different hormonal-like communications. One of them is serotonin. And serotonin does have an effect over your mood, just like dopamine has an effect of motivating you. But what an SSRI does is it blocks the uptake of serotonin. Let's say, for example, we have a marriage, right? We have a husband and a wife, and they're communicating. And the husband sends a communication over to the wife, but she's wearing earplugs. Okay, that's the SSRI effect, right? You wear earplugs, and so then the husband starts shouting. Is that going to fix a marriage? No. Dr. Peter Ghosh wrote several books on this topic, and he basically said SSRIs are basically placebos. Hey, well, you know what? At least they're getting some benefit, right? Yeah, but what about the side effects? Okay. Because in his book, he talks about the massive serious side effects of SSRIs: sexual dysfunction, no orgasm, decreased libido. You don't experience emotion anymore, worsening of the depression. Let's just compare that with something like St. John's wort. St. John's wort doesn't just deal with serotonin. It deals with dopamine. It's an anti-inflammatory. It even reduces cortisol. And what does the medical profession say about St. John's wort? They say, well, you have to be careful not to take it because if you're taking that and a psych drug, and you might increase serotonin. St. John's wort has very little side effects, and it actually works better than the placebo because it's a natural thing and it does a lot of different things. And there's some interesting things about Prozac. Prozac is an SSRI. When Prozac came on the market in 1988, a couple years later, in 1990, there was a outbreak of some serious side effects where they had a bad batch of tryptophan. So the FDA decided to ban tryptophan for quite some time. They lifted the ban of tryptophan right after the patents for Prozac ran out. Let's shift gears to our gut. Your gut makes serotonin. It also makes something called oxytocin, a very powerful hormone that can help people with depression, stress. Typically, people think about oxytocin as the hormone for bonding between a mother and a baby, or when a mother is breastfeeding. Oxytocin is also there to increase contractions during a pregnancy. So it has multiple functions, but just realize that your gut makes oxytocin. And there is a highway between your gut and your brain. It's called the vagus nerve. Communication from your gut to your brain is very, very heavy. It's like 80%. And then we have 20% of information going from your brain down to the gut. So your brain is monitoring what's going on in your gut, and then the rest of your heart and other organs as well. That's how your brain monitors the rest of your body, through the vagus nerve. And so if your gut microbes are not doing well, this alone can create depression. In fact, when other studies, when you take depressed people and you look at their gut microbiome, there are some serious missing microbes. This area of gut microbiome is completely underappreciated in the area of mental health. Also, if you have gut inflammation, you're not going to feel good mood-wise. This is why what you eat is so vitally important with how you feel up here. And this is all very interesting, but when you also think about antibiotics, one of the big side effects of taking antibiotics is depression, because you're now erasing the good bacteria that controls your mood chemicals. It wipes them out overnight. And then you think, oh yeah, the microbes will start to grow back. No, a lot of times they don't grow back. So now you have this imbalance and you wonder why you're depressed. In practice, I would ask people, when did you start getting depressed? Did you take an antibiotic right before that? Many times they would say, yes. How did you know? The gut microbiome is a chemical factory, good chemicals that will send chemicals up through this nerve, goes up to your brain, and affects your mood. If you have not seen my other video, I'm going to put a link down below, but I want to tell you a little bit about this amazing microbe. You can buy L-reuteri as a microbe in a supplement, but many times it's not in the potency that you really need to create the effect. And Dr. William Davis told me about an amazing way to cultivate this microbe using ultra-pasteurized half and half. And you basically put it in a yogurt maker and for 36 hours, and then you just take a half a cup a day. I've been doing this for months, and I want to tell you something. It's a game changer. The first thing that my wife actually noticed is she kept saying, like, why are you hugging me 5 times a day? What's gotten into you? I said, I don't know. I've been consuming this yogurt. It just makes me very social. It's really wild. She goes, well, just keep taking that yogurt. I noticed my sleep's better. My muscle is better because it increases stem cell for your muscles. It reduces stress. And if you watch my previous videos on this and you read the comments, it'll blow your mind how many people are just getting amazing results with this probiotic. It acts as a natural antibiotic without any side effects that I could perceive. Another interesting point about L-reuteri, like, where does it come from? Well, it's actually in mother's breast milk. Breastfeeding is not as common as it was years ago. And antibiotics are extremely common. And so these gut microbes are something that we need to put more attention on. So I highly recommend that you cultivate this L-reuteri. I will put some information down below of exactly how to do it.
And that was Dr. Berg. Back in a minute. Thank you. Now, motivation.
Do you know that the hunting rate of a lion is 30%? So if a lion come after you, you got almost a 70% chance of getting up and getting away from my man. Y'all know who the real king of the jungle is? The African wild dog. They got an 83% chance. When they come get your butt, it's an 83% chance they're gonna kill you. They can run like about 60, 70 miles per hour. That's not impressive. The cheetah can do that. But the cheetah can only do it for about a mile. Them boys can do it for about 5, 6 miles. Their gift is called competitive stamina. They don't ambush. They follow you. We don't chase our prey. We outlast them. They don't attack you. They let you run 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes. And that hour when you get tired and you fall out, then they all jump on top of you. I don't need y'all to be great. I need y'all to be great all season. Why you hear me? You gotta have that dog. Competitive stamina does not mean you're the best. It doesn't mean you're the brightest. It doesn't mean you're the smart. It doesn't mean you're the fast. It means that you've made up in your mind that whatever your goal is, you're gonna go after it, and you're not going to stop until you get it. It doesn't matter how long it takes. It doesn't matter how much research it takes. It doesn't matter how much money it takes. Once you are focused on a particular thing, you do not complain. You do not whine. You do not talk about the problem. You spend all of your waking hours on a solution. You take that information and you take that determination, that focus, and you keep going and you keep going, and nothing is going to stop you because you don't stop. And you're not going to quit, and you're not going to give up, and you're not going to give in because you're focused. We're not going to beat you with strength. We're going to beat you with skill. We're going to beat you with patience. We're going to beat you doing it the right way. We're going to beat you with grit. We're going to beat you with grind. Every game, we're not going to beat you talent-wise. Every game, we're not going to be the fastest. But we're going to play the game right from start to finish, from rest to finish, to workout to finish. Our stamina is going to kill them. Everyone's like, oh, Craig, you're lucky. You got this, Craig. You're lucky. Everything you just luck. No. Before it was luck. It was a belief. And every day with no one watching at 5 in the morning by myself, I trained it because I believed in it. All I have to do is sweat for it, work for it, study for it, drive for it, believe in it. Never take no for an answer and never give up. That's what luck is. That's what success is. Most of you say you want to be successful, but you don't want it bad. You just kind of want it. You don't want it. At the end of the day, when I was losing weight, I had to miserably wake up every morning in the cold. I was grinding it. This is your new life. It's going to suck. It's not going to be fun. Do something that sucks every single day of your life. That's how you grow. Ain't nobody going to give that to you just because you have a desire to have it. I'm telling y'all got to get to the place, bro, where you execute, where you get it done. I don't care what the circumstances. I don't care what the situation. You put it on your back and you like, let's go. Keep up. Let's go. Come on. You supposed to be the man. I know you can be the man for a month. Keep up. We doing this 365. We doing it 365. Keep up. We got that dog. If you're not willing to do it every single day, you're not going to beat the man that's doing it every single day. I'm not the best, but they have not outworked me. I'm not the best. I'm a beast. Monday grind, Tuesday grind, Wednesday grind, Thursday grind, Friday grind, Saturday grind, Sunday grind. Every opportunity that exists, I need you to go after it. Because every time you stop, every time you start, every time you stop, every time start, you're messing up your momentum. I want you to have the stamina, figure out what your pace is. Don't operate at anybody else's pace. Find your pace, and you stay at that pace. It doesn't matter if you win the first quarter. It doesn't matter if you win the second quarter. It doesn't matter if you win the third quarter. It don't count what you do first quarter, second quarter, third quarter. The most important quarter is the one where you won. Finish. It is a phenomenal will that says every time I get knocked down, I will get back up and I will succeed. I will not surrender. Show up the best version of yourself. You get us everything you got. From now on, you show up the entirely best when you start and when you finish. It does not matter how long it takes. We live in a world where they reward you for being mentally tough. What if you just decided, I'm going to work harder than...
And that was a little meditation. Back in a minute. Thank you. And now a little meditation.
Every sunrise carries a quiet promise. No matter what came before, this moment is a chance to begin again. Not by erasing anything, but by gently choosing how you step forward now. The light has returned, and with it, a new beginning has already found you. Take a slow breath in and let yourself arrive here. Imagine the first rays of sunlight touching the earth. Soft, warm, steady. As you inhale, imagine that same light reaching you, filling your breath with freshness. As you exhale, feel your body soften, making space for this new beginning. This is not yesterday continuing. This is today beginning. Imagine your mind like a quiet room in the early morning. The windows are open. Fresh air is flowing in. Everything feels lighter, clearer. There is space here now. You don't need to carry anything heavy into this space. You are allowed to meet this day with a lighter presence. Affirm gently, I welcome this new beginning. I allow myself to start fresh. Just as the sun slowly rises, feel your own energy gently awakening. Not rushed, not forced, steady, natural, unfolding in its own time. You don't have to be fully ready all at once. you simply begin. Affirm, I rise into this day with calm energy. I allow my energy to grow naturally. Let this truth settle softly. A fresh start doesn't ask you to be different. It simply invites you to be present in a new way. You don't need to change everything. You only need to meet this moment with awareness. And that is enough to shift everything. Now bring your awareness to something simple in your life. Something already here, already supporting you. Perhaps a friend, a roof over your head, or just the fact that you woke up this morning. Let yourself feel the gratitude, not in a big way, but in a quiet, real way. Affirm, I am grateful for this new day. I am grateful for this chance to begin again. Now imagine standing at the beginning of a path. It stretches forward. Calm, open, inviting. You don't need to see the entire path. Just the next few steps. And that is enough. This path represents your day, full of possibilities you don't yet need to understand. Affirm, I am open to what today brings. I trust that good things can meet me along the way. Imagine yourself walking this path slowly, not rushing, not hesitating, just moving, step by step. With each step, you feel supported. With each step, you feel steady. Let this be how you move through your day. Affirm, I move through today with ease and trust. I allow things to unfold naturally. Feel the morning energy around you again. Fresh, open, full of quiet possibilities. possibility. This energy is not outside of you. It is something you are already part of. Let yourself receive it. Affirm, I am open to positive energy. I welcome abundance and ease into my life. Bring your awareness back to your breath. Notice how this moment feels now. Lighter, calmer, more open.
Thank you. A little interview from David Asman with a correspondent or a contributor, let's call her that, named Molly Hemingway.
Have a good case.
Well, first I think we should point out that James Comey is the person most responsible for the absolute destruction of the reputation of the FBI and DOJ. He was one of the prime instigators of the very dangerous Russia collusion hoax, in which he knowingly and falsely accused Trump of being a traitor. The most recent assassination attempt we saw, the man who did that, who tried to kill President Trump, he said he believed that conspiracy theory pushed by James Comey, that Donald Trump was a traitor. And so it is a very fraught environment we're in, with a lot of attempts on the president. Now, this case deals with when Comey claimed, falsely, I think everybody knows, falsely claimed he just discovered a perfectly done shell set that looked like shells had been purchased from the local Hobby Lobby and laid out, to use a mafia term, which he, of course, also would know well as a former, FBI person, to 86 someone is to kill them. So he's being treated like other people would if they made this type of threat. He has a case that he has a First Amendment right to threaten to kill the president. He did.
Well, anyways, we'll stop it right there because they're missing the point. What should be happening here is that he should be indicted as a co-conspirator. Okay, there's no First Amendment right to conspire to break the law, especially to assassinate a president, because that's exactly what he is. And by the way, I want to make it clear, I'm no fan of James Comey. I don't like his attitude. I don't like his personality. And I certainly don't like the things that he did at the FBI. I don't know that he is as she said, the guy that has screwed up the reputation of the FBI. But I certainly hope that he goes down in history that way, with the most negative review by historians possible. Now, again, he should be indicted as a co-conspirator. He should be indicted, maybe John Brennan, some other politicians and media types, all should be arrested, indicted as co-conspirators with the individual that attempted to assassinate Donald Trump a few days ago. Because that's what they are. They're co-conspirators. Back in a minute. Thank you. Now, Professor Feynman.
Everybody knows that nothing can travel faster than light, right? That's what Einstein told us. 300,000 kilometers per second. That's the cosmic speed limit. Nothing can break it. It's absolute. It's definitive. It's the law. Except it's not quite that simple. And that's what makes physics so wonderful. Let me start with something you can actually picture. Imagine I have a balloon and I draw dots all over it with a marker. Now I start blowing air into the balloon. What happens? the dots move apart from each other. They get farther and farther away. And here's the thing. If the balloon gets big enough, fast enough, those dots on opposite ends of the balloon will appear to be moving away from each other faster than light. Not through space, mind you, but because space itself is expanding between them. And that's not cheating. That's not violating Einstein's law. That's just how the universe works. Think about it. Einstein said nothing can move faster than light through space. He didn't say anything about space itself. Space can do whatever it wants. Space is the stage upon which the actors perform. Einstein was talking about the actors. So when space expands, when the distance between 2 points gets larger faster than light could travel between them, that's perfectly allowed. And this isn't just some theoretical game we physicists play. This actually happened. In the very beginning, in the first fraction of a second after the Big Bang, we're talking about something on the order of 10 to the minus 35 seconds. The entire universe underwent something called inflation. In that briefest instant, the universe expanded by a factor of at least 10 to the 26. That's one followed by 26 zeros. The universe grew from something smaller than an atom to something the size of a grapefruit in less than a trillionth of a second. And it did this faster than light. Much faster. Now, astronomers have measured this. They've looked at light that's been traveling toward us for 13.8 billion years, since near the beginning of the universe itself. And they calculated backwards to figure out how far away those distant galaxies must be now, in our current time, accounting for all the expansion that happened in between. And you know what they found? Some of those galaxies are now so far away that the space between us and them is expanding faster than light. The recession velocity is greater than the speed of light. We can measure it. We observe it every single day. So that's one thing faster than light, the expansion of space itself. But here's where it gets really interesting. There's something else, something that bothered physicists for a very long time. It's a hypothetical particle called a tachyon. A tachyon is a particle that would always travel faster than light. Not sometimes, not under special conditions, always. It's not slowed down by anything. It has a peculiar property. If you give it less energy, it speeds up. If you give it more energy, it slows down. It's backwards from everything we're used to. And when physicists first calculated what tachyons would do, they found that they would cause all sorts of problems. They would allow you to send information backwards in time. They would violate causality. They would break the logical structure of how the universe works. So physicists said, well, tachyons probably don't exist. But here's the thing. They haven't been proven impossible. Not really. They just seem weird, and physicists don't like weird things that break the rules. So for decades, tachyons were regarded as a kind of mathematical curiosity. An interesting idea, but not something you'd expect to find in nature. But recently, and this is really exciting, physicists from the University of Warsaw and the University of Oxford did some new calculations. They found something remarkable. They discovered that if you include both the initial state and the final state of a system in your calculations, if you think about where a particle is going to end up as well as where it started, the mathematical inconsistencies go away. The contradictions disappear. The theory becomes consistent. Tachyons fit perfectly into special relativity when you think about the problem correctly. Let me try to explain this in a way you can really understand it. Imagine a movie. In the usual way of thinking about physics, we think of the movie playing forward. We see cause and effect. A cause is B causes C. We observe the initial state, apply the laws of physics, and predict the final state. But what if we could also think of the movie playing backwards? What if the final state also exerts some influence on how things happen? This isn't magic. It's not saying that the future can change the past in the way you might worry about. It's saying something much more subtle. It's saying that when you describe a particle correctly, when you include all the information about both where it came from and where it's going, you find that tachyons not only can exist, but they must exist as part of the natural structure of matter formation. This is brand new thinking, and it's not just speculation. It's coming from serious theoretical work done by real physicists publishing in real journals. And you know what the implication is? Tachyons might not just be theoretical possibilities. They might be real particles that actually play a role in how our universe came to be. Now, let me tell you about something else that seems faster than light. And this one is even more mind-bending. It's called quantum entanglement. And it's something that even Einstein was troubled by. He called it spooky action at a distance. Here's what happens. You take two particles, let's say two electrons, and you prepare them in a special way so that their quantum states are linked together, entangled. You can't measure this linkage directly. It's not like they're sending signals to each other, but it's real, and you can detect it. Then you take one electron and move it to one side of the universe, and you take the other electron and move it to the other side of the universe. They're light years apart. They're completely separated. Side of the universe. They're light years apart. They're completely separated. And then you measure something about the first electron. Let's say you measure its spin, whether it's spinning up or spinning down. The moment, and I mean the very moment, you make that measurement, the other electron, which is light years away, somehow responds. Its spin is determined to be the opposite of the first one. Instantly. Faster than light could possibly carry any signal between them. Now, I need to be careful here, because this doesn't actually allow you to send information faster than light. And Einstein was right about that. There's something called the no communication theorem that proves you can't use entanglement to transmit information faster than light. But the correlation is real. The instantaneous connection is real. It's one of the deepest mysteries in physics. But think about this. What if tachyons are the answer to this mystery? What if the entanglement between two particles is actually maintained by tachyons traveling backwards and forwards in time? What if there's a kind of superluminal communication happening at a deeper level between the past and future that weaves together the quantum states of entangled particles? This is speculative, I'll grant you, but it's the kind of speculation that serious physicists are starting to take seriously. And it would explain something that's been puzzling us for nearly a century. You see, quantum mechanics tells us that particles don't have definite properties until we measure them. An electron doesn't have a spin until we ask it about its spin. It exists in a kind of superposition. It's both spin up and spin down simultaneously, in a sense. This is not just a matter of us not knowing. The mathematics makes it clear that the particle genuinely doesn't have a determined property until the measurement is made. It's one of the strangest things in all of science. But what if the resolution involves tachyons somehow reaching backwards in time and organizing these quantum states? What if nature uses faster than light communication to maintain the order and consistency of the quantum world? Let me be honest with you. This is frontier physics. We don't know if any of this is true. But what excites me about it is that it's based on careful thinking, on mathematical rigor, and on a real attempt to understand what nature is actually doing, not what we think it should be doing. Now, there's another aspect of this that I find really important, and it goes back to something Einstein himself pointed out. Time is not what we think it is. Einstein showed us that. Time and space are woven together. They're not separate things. They're part of the fabric of space-time. And the way time flows, or even whether time flows at all, depends on your perspective, on your state of motion, on the gravitational field around you. So when we say faster than light, we need to be very careful about what we mean. Because faster than what light? Light traveling through what medium? And what reference frame? Once you start asking these questions carefully, you realize that faster than light can mean different things in different contexts, and some of them are perfectly consistent with Einstein's great discoveries. Let me give you an example from everyday life. If I'm standing on the ground and I see a light beam from a flashlight sweep across a distant wall, if the wall is far enough away and the light moves fast enough across it, that spot of light on the wall can appear to move faster than light. Not because anything physical is traveling faster than light, but because the spot is not a physical object. It's just an illusion created by my perspective. The information isn't traveling faster than light. The light itself is only traveling at the speed of light. But the appearance, the visual effect, can be faster than light. And in some sense, this is what's happening with tachyons and with cosmic expansion. Nothing is actually moving faster than light through space-time in a way that would violate causality or create paradoxes. But the mathematical description of the universe, the actual structure of space-time itself, allows for patterns and effects that appear to exceed the speed of light when you view them from a certain perspective. This is one of the most beautiful things about physics. It's not about rules being broken. It's about rules being subtly understood. When you really understand the rules, when you think carefully and don't jump to conclusions, the universe reveals itself to be far more subtle and interesting than you imagined. And here's what I find most fascinating. We live in a universe that's expanding faster than light. find most fascinating. We live in a universe that's expanding faster than light. We're surrounded by the relics of inflation when the universe was expanding faster than light. We observe particles and fields that might be tachyons. We measure entanglement that seems to violate locality in ways that might involve faster than light processes. And it's all perfectly consistent with Einstein. It's all perfectly logical. It's all part of the beautiful structure that Einstein revealed to us. The speed of light isn't a limitation in the way a lot of people think. It's not like a traffic law that the universe has to obey. It's more fundamental than that. It's the structure of space-time. It's the geometry of reality. And within that structure, there's room for all sorts of things that seem paradoxical at first, but make perfect sense once you understand the deep principles involved. So what I want you to take away from this is not some kind of wild speculation that physics is all wrong, or that we can send messages backwards in time, or any of that science fiction nonsense. What I want you to understand is that the universe is more subtle than it appears. The rules are not as simple as they seem. And nature, real nature, not what we imagine, is far stranger and more wonderful than our intuitions would suggest. The physicists from Warsaw and Oxford who did this recent work on tachyons, they're not saying, look, we found something faster than light. They're saying, look, when we describe the physics more carefully, when we think about causality more carefully, tachyons fit in. And that's a different kind of discovery. It's not discovering a new phenomenon. It's discovering that our understanding was incomplete.
And that was Professor Feynman. Back in a minute. Thank you. This is Ron, your host, the only true conservative in the United States today, bidding adios to all the butchers, bakers, and candlestick makers out there, and reminding you that you're not neutral and that the government has no rights.